you're probably not as bad at running as you think. I get this comment from people a lot, whether it's on TikTok or comments on my videos or just in conversation. We're like, oh, I'm terrible at running. It's not for me. I felt that. I still sometimes feel that, but hopefully this video helps with a little bit of perspective shift because here's something I've come to more of a conclusion of over the last couple years is running is something to be enjoyed and something to be excited by and love. I get there's some people like David Goggins who like hate it and they do it to push themselves and that's why they do it. I think there's even an element of love with that. Maybe it's not running specifically, but I love the idea that I'm doing something that is tough and I hate it because it makes me better. But when it comes to like running, we're just all comparing ourselves to people. And so if you're the slowest in your friend group, or you can't run a sub 2 hour marathon, or you didn't set your PR, or you only run 20 miles a week, right? Like there's all these conversations in our heads about, well, compared to this guy, right? If you look yourself in the mirror and you kind of tune that out, are you happy and satisfied with what you're doing? And I don't mean satisfied and not pushing. But when I take an honest look in the mirror, I am proud of the mileage I've put in. I am proud of the events I have run. I'm even proud of when I ran a marathon and had a goal of like sub 245 and I did a 318. It was a tough day, but I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the 8.5 mile run yesterday, and I'm proud of the 3 mile easy run a couple weeks ago because it's something I love. And I think when you stop the comparison thing of, well, I'm not an elite athlete, I think that helps, right? Or even if it's not you comparing yourself to elite athlete of just, oh, well, I can't run like they can type of thing. I get that comment of like, oh my God, you run 100 miles. I can't do that. I would never be able to do that, which I disagree with. But there's something deeper to that than that. It's just this comparison thing. If you have gone out and ran a couple miles within the last year, you have ran more than the majority of the population. Maybe you haven't ran more than people who set world records and course records, but you've ran more than the average human. And so if you're a runner, you're already above average. And this is still comparison, but what I mean by that is you do something other people don't. And sure, they do see things you don't, right? We all have those things. Like I'm decent at running. Some people are way better at art. Most people are way better at art than I am, right? So it's not this I'm better than, so I put them down. It's just like, if we're factually like looking at it, like no ego involved, you just do something people don't. And I think that's something to be proud of. Now, here's the other element when it comes to comparing yourself to elite athletes or people who can run faster and do more than you. They, like elite athletes specifically, that is like a lot of the times their full-time job. Like they don't do something else. Sure, there's some that have other jobs or they're like influencers or they do content or even just work a job. Those people can dedicate like 100% of their life to it, besides like the family stuff or friends or whatever. But like even when it comes in elite athlete, maybe the most they do for the running is like 5 hours a day, where they have to train and warm up and cool down and plan their meals and maybe strength training session or whatever they do for recovery. Like just in general, like they have the full schedule to be able to work their running in for a lot of the times. And so if you're not one of those people, you have another job. I'm not saying this isn't to make excuses for not doing the work. What I'm saying is it's just a different life. It's not a fair comparison to be like, well, I'm not as good or I can't because, well, maybe that person has complete freedom in being able to build their schedule around training. Where a lot of people, I think the much more common person has this life they're living with a job and family or whatever it might be, and then they're training on top of that. And so I think what I'm trying to get across is you don't suck, man. Like if you're running and you're getting out there and you're trying, and even if you get an injury or it doesn't feel good or you look funny, I think that is a beautiful thing because that's what I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Just getting out there looking funny, having bad form, getting shin splints. Like that journey, even though it was frustrating, the moment was so fun to now be where I'm at now, where I've been able to do 10 marathons in 10 days, and I've set a couple ultra course records that have been broken, but at the time I set the course record. And I think that's such a powerful thing, to have this crazy life with work and travel and family, and then be able to fit this training in. Sure, I'd like to be in a position where I could make running a full-time thing at some point, or even just be a pro athlete or sponsored athlete someday, but I have not had the time that a lot of people have, right? Like, a lot of pro athletes started with cross country in middle school or high school. I started running after high school. And so a lot of these people have years on me, and so for me to compare myself is unfair to myself, and it's just not a apple to apple comparison. It's an apple to orange, where they've just had a different life. And just because I'm trying not compare myself doesn't mean I don't want to beat people. And that's something I'm coming to figure out, is both can exist at the same time, of not comparing myself to other people so much, but also wanting to beat them in races and training to be able to do that because I am competitive. Ultimately, what I have to be looking at is year to year, or the beginning of my running journey to the end. And so I think if you give yourself a little bit of grace, now you can shift into, I just enjoy the sport, right? Like, I love running. And that's something I've struggled with for a couple of years, of, just not making fair comparisons to myself, because other people have different schedules, lifestyles, upbringing, the time invested into a sport like this. And so I think it's valuable to look at, why are you running? What are you getting out of it? If it's health and fitness, and that's the most important thing to you, and you're running, mission accomplished, right? Doesn't mean you don't strive for goals or try and set your own PRs, but mission accomplished. Maybe you just want to meet more people, and so you do a run club thing. Like, that's mission accomplished, right? For me, I have these big, crazy goals and races I want to run and records I want to set. So yes, that's important, but that's not why I run. I run because I love it. And so I think that's a healthy mindset, and I think love is a powerful thing, where if you love something enough, you can overcome things more than if it was like just neutral, or you hated something and were trying to push yourself, right? I think love has a interesting power behind it that can help you overcome things. And because I love running so much, I'm going to find a way to work through the issues I have, the injuries, the training that doesn't work out, the races I don't set a PR at. And so hopefully this just gives you a little reminder that it's not fair to compare yourself to other people, because it's different lifestyles and maybe even different goals. And so, why do you run? Well, I imagine if you're watching this video or you're a runner, it's probably because you love it. And if you're doing your runs and you're getting training in, you are accomplishing that mission of just doing something you love. If you like running content, my name's Reese. I am just trying to help people learn from my mistakes and maybe help you set a PR or two along the way, or just overall enjoy running a little bit more while staying healthy. I hope I get to see you in another video sometime soon. Peace.